Howdy, howdy, everyone. Mob Ross here with our first in a series of mod interviews. The mods are an incredibly valuable part of TM, and we're here with our very first volunteer, Pax. Pax, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, thank you.
Fantastic. What are we doing?
We are doing the pink dungeon, a 18-pointer. Just max out the loot scaling for delve mats with the two of us.
Hype. And why pink? Why'd you pick pink?
It's a fairly standard dungeon. I am familiar with it pretty well. Done it a few. I don't remember how many times exactly I've done it, but I've done it over 12 times probably.
Very nice. I love it. This is a very good one. Do you have a Moderator skin?
Yes, actually. I've had the skin for a very long time.
That's awesome. I'd never realized that because I've never seen you without your armor. Very cool. Well, lead on. I'll support you, your guardian, so when you draw aggro, I'll just try to mop them up.
Yeah, people usually don't see me without my armor because I usually don't die.
Nice. Well, let's plan on that not happening here. So to start, when did you start Monumenta and how did you find it?
It was a long time ago, like August 2020, I think, a few months before I became a mod. And I found it after, I think it was off of doing, I think, Weaves of Fate by the Crims. I was in a massive CTM blitz, so just remembered Monumenta existed from the CTMC, so decided to check it out. And
how about that? I don't think I've ever heard of someone finding us through Crims. That's awesome.
Yeah, I've done a few CTM maps. A lot of the old Vex maps. I did both Pantheon, Titan's Revolt, and then eventually Divinity's End when it came out. Done Ragecraft 3 once, though I don't think I've ever played the other two.
Sure. I think Helly himself recommends not doing one. He'd rather you start with two. So
yeah. I remember hearing about the infamous Bedrock Room Trap, on an inescapable one.
I haven't played it myself, so you know more about it than I do. Yeah. That's cool. Let's start with, why don't you tell us about your history of CTMs? You've hinted that you played the old Vex ones.
My dad used to be a fan of the Minecraft crew, which obviously included Vex at the time, and Paul Soares Jr., Zisto. Those people, they played a lot of the Vex maps, which basically was my introduction to the genre.
That's so fun that you have that connection with your dad. What was his history with it? Do you still play Minecraft with him? Does he play Monumenta?
He does not play Monumenta. He mainly plays modded stuff, single player. Stuff like Agrarian Skies. Another feed to these packs.
Sure. I'm gonna nod and pretend I know much about modded Minecraft. I do not. I'm sorry.
Agrarian Skies is like hardcore skyblock. Not like high pixel skyblock, the classic one.
Sure. That's cool. How'd you come up with your username?
My dad's username is actually Paxirion, and I'm a TF2 player, so PaxTF for Team Fortress. It's very simple.
Let's skip ahead. I really want to inquire about this whole connection with your dad. Do you play a lot of video games with him? That's really unusual in a fun way.
Okay. There's a lot of people. A lot of time has to be spent on work. Obviously, I'm started going to college. I'm actually heading back, I think, next week. So,
how you feeling about that?
Well, it's second year, and first year went fine, so not too worried.
Well, good luck. What are you studying?
Currently English and pre-law.
Cool. Well, best of luck. That's super exciting. Keep us posted on that.
Yeah.
We want you to do well. Do you have a caffeine addiction, and how bad is it?
I do not drink coffee, at all.
Nice. No soda or tea?
I drink the occasional soda. I drink some tea as well. A lot of tea, actually, but no coffee, no energy drinks.
Very nice.
I normally start with the Gate of Spring and just go across.
Sounds good. Right behind you. What is your favorite CTM map?
Favorite CTM map? It's a hard one. Divinity's End was a really good one. So was, at the time when it released, Titan's Revolt was pretty nice. Hard one to say. Inferno Mines has that nostalgia. It's like one of my first.
And do you remember what your very first one was?
I think that was Spellbound.
Funny how often Spellbound is. I wonder if there was something about that that broke into the more general consciousness of people.
Well, I believe it had a lot of it for me was the nice items at the time, like Rage Fell. You remember that with a big axe? And all the
Wow,
other
man,
items.
I haven't heard that name in years. Yes, I do. Now that you say it. Nice. Cool. Whoa. Hold on, sorry. Yeah, do you like the direction of the more modern CTM maps that the trend has taken in recent years?
Some of them. A lot of them are... I haven't played very many recently. A lot of modern map design. There's a lot more custom abilities than I'm used to. Like, even Monumenta, I play Warrior, which is fairly vanilla-based. That guy's on a thing.
Nice. Sorry, I think we were both focusing there. Are you a fan of any particular map makers that are active these days?
Felicio, I've heard he's working on Raycraft 4, so I'm excited for that.
He sure is. Came out with a trailer and still comes out with patron updates if you're one of his guys. So he's definitely chugging along. What is your favorite thing in Monumenta to do and your least favorite?
Mainly delves. Most of my content on Monumenta is just delves, and I really don't like. I'm not a fan of the fast-paced strikes gameplay. Super fast-paced. Like, it's one of those things where you can do it, but you don't really want to, so you don't.
Sure. I get that. Do you play solo typically?
I normally play in a group. The Vault Hunters Guild is the typical group I go with, but I also recently did during the event week for Depths, we did a basically mod-only run with 6 people, though that had to end prematurely due to time constraints.
Nice. I gotta back off for just a second. What's your least favorite thing to do? Strikes still? Was that your answer to that? Or?
Yeah, strikes. I don't
wow.
do very many strikes, if at all.
That's fair. So if you could change anything about delves and strikes, what would they be each?
Well, delves itself, I think it could definitely use rebalancing. There's definitely a massive difficulties difference between like a 12-pointer and solo, and even a 4-man 25-pointer. Like 12-pointers, I honestly think they're too easy, and 25-pointers, I definitely think are very difficult.
Interesting. Any particular mods that make it so, or just the
I believe like for 12-pointers, you can only there's a lot of I've always organized the delve mods into primary threats and secondary threats. Where in 12 points you can have one primary threat and just stack up the remaining points on secondaries, whereas with in 25 pointers you have Colossals, you have Transcendent Elite, you have Dreadful, and now Twisted now. Yeah, those are a lot of stuff to deal with at the same time. Plus the just raw stat multipliers.
I'm interested in your breakdown of primary and secondary threats. How do you mean more specifically?
Well, primary threats are just the main thing you're dealing with. Like in this dungeon, it'd be mainly dreadnoughts, if you've noticed. Dreadnoughts,
sure.
Maybe specters. Whereas like Relentless doesn't actually do anything other than make the mobs faster. Carapace,
yeah,
it doesn't
that's fair.
add anything really new to your gameplay.
They're almost stat modifiers of a sort. Kind of
Yeah.
like a multiplier. That makes sense. Well said. What would you change about strikes if you could?
Strikes. Well, the initial reason why I stopped playing strikes was the community around Mist. If you remember that, it was getting very toxic. So I just completely stopped playing that. I think it's gotten better now, but also it's just not enjoyable to play that fast.
Sure.
Especially with strikes like Sealed Remorse, where you have to play that fast no matter what.
Perfectly reasonable. If you were the dictator of Monumenta for a day, and you could make any change to the game with everyone's support and would love it, like no social pressure, what would it be?
I would rework Forum.
How so?
Well, it is a Forum and Reverie are both, I believe, basically Reverie especially is based. It's more like 1.8 mob design or dungeon design with highly spammy mobs. I would definitely rework that to a different style, more akin to probably this dungeon. You know, more highly statted, more elites and such, less just raw spam. You know, Hushbringers can be deleted from the game.
Those are the Phantoms, right?
Yes, I believe.
It's funny. I was running with Mitch and Gasp earlier, and they were saying that the Phantoms in Forum are the worst mob in there. So that is an echoed sentiment there. Well, cool. Very reasonable. Who is your favorite other moderator?
Other moderator, Aramel.
Nice. Why is that? In case he watches this.
He's the only moderator on the current team that's actually been around longer than I have, so a lot of respect there. And I also, obviously, if I play as a Vault Hunter, I play a lot of dungeons with him because he's part of the Vault Hunters Guild, which is the guild I play with. If I'm making any sense there.
Yeah, for sure. Now, are they all Canadians? Are you Canadian?
I am not. I'm not even. I'm part of the Waifu Guild.
Oh, right.
Sazra isn't Canadian, but the rest of them are, as far as I know.
Okay, cool. And do you prefer to break T5s down into currency, or what should I be doing with these?
I normally just keep them and then I shred them as I need.
Okay, cool. I will do that then.
I have a fairly extensive collection of tier 5 fragments in my plot.
I would imagine. Do you have any thoughts on recent and future Minecraft releases?
Obviously, there's a lot of controversy recently about the 1.19.1, which I think is a pretty bad change overall for the game. And just because, even from my position as a moderator, what's stopping someone from creating a bot and just spamming them? Because I do not believe that Mojang is going to keep their promise of... There are two options for their manual reviews. Either they are lying to us, or they will be backed up for months. Because there are a lot of more players playing Minecraft than they can ever have moderators.
What? No, this is a small indie game by a single person in Sweden. They couldn't possibly have an audience big enough for that. Yeah, that's very reasonable. When you first started as a mod, do you recall if you were overwhelmed? Was there a pressure to be perfect, or was it pretty chill?
I think very early on, there was actually, if you remember, the incident with the items platform. That was a big one.
Oh yeah, with them. What was it? No, recoil wasn't in yet. How did they get out there?
No, they bridged.
Oh.
They managed to get over the border of the valley and just bridge. I think they used water and Riptide to get over, and then they just started bridging.
Man, I did not remember that.
Nowadays, that would not be possible because everything outside of the valley is now considered a safe zone, so it's adventure mode for non-mods.
Yep. So don't try it if you're watching this. It will not be productive.
And even if you did manage to make it to the items platform nowadays, it's locked. So,
sure.
That was a change made basically right after that. So,
for those unfamiliar with it, do you want to explain what the items platform is? I think that
the items platform is well, it's the platform where we keep all our items. Every single item currently in the game is, or at least most of them. There are some hidden ones, like I think the bouquet that was from the flowers. I don't think that's there, but outside of that, there is basically every item from every dungeon, all the quest items, other miscellaneous items, every epic skin, all types of currency. They're all just lined up in chests on the items platform, which is not even a platform anywhere. It's on the ground. Like, it used to be suspended over Void. Now it was brought down to, I think, Y1 or so. Basically, whenever a person requires a refund, either we go into the loot tables and summon it directly, or we go to the items platform and clone it with creative mode.
Yep. Do you have a favorite bit of drama that's happened in Monumenta?
There's a lot of drama, and honestly, I can't remember all of it.
Does anything stand out as, oh, that was fun, or that was terrifying?
I remember the spawner, right around when I became a mod, there was the spawner changes drama. That's very memorable.
Yeah, that was ugly. Oh, I kind of blocked that. Is that your answer? Is that your favorite?
Not my. I don't think I could ever call any of them my favorite, but it's definitely the most memorable one for me.
Okay, that's fair. Do you have any cool Yeah.
Also, like that was also like a few months after I joined, and right around when Delve started coming out.
Sure. Yeah, because it was kind of the difficulty of Delves is what prompted people to even be trying that. That makes sense. I forgot those two were together.
The old Delves were interesting. I remember that Merciless was just straight up 3x stat multiplier, which was interesting when you go into white and everything just completely. The spam mobs have infinite health. The old Arcanic was also very, very powerful. Every single mob in the entire dungeon had an ability that did 30 damage or more. So, not very fun to fight. And Dreadful was a joke.
What was the rate on Dreadful before? I've forgotten.
I think it might have been only 50%.
Wow.
It also included Spectral. Actually, I don't even know if Dreadnoughts existed during that day. It might have only been Spectres.
That might have been the Twisted, and because there were like two levels of it.
I don't know when Dreadnoughts were added. It's been so long. Even if they were there, obviously. Relentless and Arcanic were definitely the two hardest ones. I remember distinctly if you remember, when Shifting first was re-released after the 116 upgrade, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, my first Shifting was a Delve, an 8-man Delve. I didn't die during it, but everyone else did, and it was a Relentless Delve, and it took several hours.
I think I might have been on that because I remember I did one. I mean, y'all probably did a bunch, but my first 8-man Delve was with Vault Hunters, and it was Shifting. I wonder if that was the one.
Yeah, mine was with the Waifu Guild back when it was in its prime.
I see. Do you have any cool scars and/or a story that comes with it? Thank you.
One time I messed up a teleportation command and teleported every single NPC on the entire plot chart into a single block.
So emotional scars.
Yeah, I don't have any actual scars. Yeah, that's a
great.
very yeah, we had to roll back the plot shard. So
yeah. Well, if you haven't messed up things, then you're just not trying hard enough. You're not being dramatic enough in your mod activities. So well done. What is the most difficult bug or technical issue that you've had to resolve as a mod?
Technical issues? A lot of the things to do with bosses. Whenever, like, sometimes the bosses just decide to break, and then when you press the reset button, it says no, and it doesn't reset. Then you kill it, and it says no, and comes back to life.
Terrifying.
If you remember, even just a few months ago, it was the invincible mobs thing. That was a problem. Every couple minutes, we'd have to get called to delete one. And you couldn't just... I think you had to teleport it into the void, because even /kill didn't work on it.
Thank you. It's like some singularity, self-aware AI sort of nonsense. When K stops working.
Yeah.
Man, I never play with Guardians. This is beautiful. Love Shield Wall.
Yeah, Shield Wall is the identity of Guardian. Honestly, you could remove the other two skills and you'd still be pretty good.
Awesome. What's the most embarrassing skill issue moment you've personally encountered?
I think one time I fell to my death in Teal.
Ooh, was it near an edge?
I think it might have been.
That's the worst. Did that?
Oh no, I alt tabbed out of the game during the forum boss fight and underestimated how much damage the mobs did because I hadn't actually been threatened for the entire dungeon. Went to go check something on Discord and I came back and I was dead.
That was very, very confident of you that you wouldn't die through all that. Well done. So since we're not paying y'all, since all mod work is voluntary, what keeps you personally motivated? Why do you do this, especially for so long?
Very nice. Just knowing what to do, you know, someone doing things, you can just like autopilot the commands and boom, they're solved. Boom. Instant gratification for them. It's there's a lot of the same issues come up very often, so it's very easy to learn what to do. Even our newer mods will definitely in a few months will know exactly what to do for most situations.
Did you have a hand in creating that wonderful site with all as a guide for everyone, or was that mostly just Cringe?
I think that was Cringeor and Dayablep did most of the mod guide. I'm not super good at explaining how to do everything on for mods, so which is why I also don't typically do the mod introductions.
Perfectly reasonable. What's something you wish the player base would just quit doing? It could be like just annoying or legitimately demotivating. And remember, a patron paid to ask this question, so you can be.
I would really wish they would stop intentionally exploiting the game. Like race exploits, duplication exploits sometimes. Just every single time someone exploits something, it's like an hour of mod work and a headache.
Well said. Thank you for dealing with that when it comes up. It's no fun. Why is Monumenta special to you as a game?
The community, I'd say. It's just something I keep coming back to. There's a lot of repeatable content. It's has a acceptable level of difficulty. Like Windcraft is really easy, I'd say. Until it's not, and then it's I believe I was just reading earlier in the Discord, Monumenta Discord. It's really easy until it's not, in which case it's infuriatingly hard for no reason.
Someone said something about like a boss, like a TNA. Someone said that there was like a really interesting boss that struck a nice balance. I was kind of curious.
It might be that might be one of the raid bosses. I haven't done much Windcraft for the past couple years.
Careful. Oh, I don't need to tell you that. You're more bulky than me. Cool. Well said. What do you like to do outside the game? What brings you joy?
I watch a lot of TV shows, you know, NCIS. The main one I've been watching recently. Watch the Kenobi show, some of the newer Disney movies coming out, like the MCU ones.
Nice. Any particular recommendations? Things that stand out?
They're all pretty average, I'd say, movies. None of them are really standouts, I'd say.
Gosh, I love Shield. Whoa! Thank you so much. Best. What do you like to do at school when you're chilling and not playing Monumenta? Still TV shows or?
Typically, I do a lot of reading as well.
Ooh, what kind?
Books that I can get my hands on if I have them available.
Okay, but no particular genres? Nonfiction, fiction?
Typically, nonfiction, like sci-fi stuff, is what I read the most.
How is it sci-fi but nonfiction?
Or not nonfiction, fiction and sci-fi.
I see. Nice. More like classic stuff, like Arthur C. Clarke and...
No, it's more like some of the more modern Star Wars stuff, like the Thrawn trilogy from Timothy Zahn.
Yes, I've heard great things.
Both of them. The newer one and the older one. I've read them both.
Very cool. I need to pick those up. Is there a good starting point you'd recommend?
Well, they're a trilogy, so you start from the first book and then go down the other two.
Dumb question. Sorry, I was like titles. I'll just look up the Thrawn trilogy if I want to get
the original one, I think it's I don't know. Oh yeah, it's Thrawn Heir to the, or I think it's just Heir to the Empire, and for the original Thrawn trilogy, and then the new one is just named Thrawn.
Cool. What has surprised you most about moderating this game?
Initially there were very little like actual things like traditional moderation of, you know, disciplining people. Back when I first started, it was a lot more just bug work. which I know is actually kind of unusual for moderators on a lot of servers. They don't actually have that power.
To
They don't have.
or?
No, most moderators are typically only disciplined. They don't have like
Oh.
operator positions and such.
Yeah. I wonder if that's in part because most games are less buggy than ours because of our weekly updates. We just kind of introduce problems at a rate that most people don't.
I don't know. I mean, Windcraft. I have a quest on Windcraft that has been bugged for 2 years and it's still not fixed. So.
Oh wow. Well, never mind. Maybe we're doing okay. What is your fondest memory as a player, and what's your fondest memory as a mod?
I think it was as a player. I remember back when the first what was it? The Trickster challenge for Call came out. There were a lot of worries about it being too difficult, so I went ahead and did it. That was always nice.
Very nice. Any cool stories as a mod that stand out in your memory?
I don't know if it's a fond memory, but I remember when the zones broke on cities in R2. I remember spending a few hours solving that.
That was not good.
It was me and Aramel trying to figure out who did what, and then deciding what to do with that information.
Thank y'all so much for dealing with that kind of stuff. That's a nightmare.
Yeah.
What is your favorite video? Well, sorry, you've already said this. Is TF2 your favorite video game?
Yeah, I have a fair few hours in it. I think about 1,200 right now.
Woo! Are you a spy in that?
Yes, I do play Spy.
Do you play exclusively Spy, or are you...
Almost solely, actually. My playtime on
Nice.
Spy is very skewed.
Do you have a favorite loadout?
Yes, I normally run the Electron J, the stock knife, and the stock Invis watch with the stock zapper.
Very nice. What is it about TF2 that has kept you coming back to it for so long?
Spy gameplay. The Spy is a very bad class. He's very weak. He loses in a one-on-one duel to literally everyone else in the entire game, except maybe Sniper. But when you actually pull it off and get those backstabs or shoot someone, punish them for their overconfidence, it's really satisfying.
Well said. Sorry, I fell, and I can't read my questions. I'm trying to remind myself.
I don't even think I think we're done up there anyway.
Yeah, pretty much. Cool. What are some of your other favorite pieces of media? You know, movie, music, composer, color, book series. I guess you touched on Thrawn. What else?
Obviously, there's Star Wars with Thrawn. Music, Linkin Park's always a good one to go back to. Other media. The DC animated shows are always pretty good. Like, you know, the classic Teen Titans, Justice League, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Even if their movies are pretty subpar. Or the live action movies, at least. I remember I think it was The Dark Knight Returns, the animated one, where Batman is literally just built like a truck. Everyone in that film was built like a truck, but he was built like an even bigger truck.
Nice. What's your favorite color? That's the most important one.
Say red.
Very good. What's an interesting fact about you that I would never even think to ask a question prompting you to tell me about it? What's something we'd never guess?
I don't know. It's hard to think of something right off the top of my head.
You want to take a minute?
You can take a minute there. Back before I played Monumenta, there was, I think, a period of 2 years, actually, where I was playing competitive factions, if you're familiar with that game mode.
No, sorry.
The factions game mode is basically you have a base, you have your money-making spawners where you make farms, and then people try to raid your bases. The faction with the most value at the end of the season wins the prize, which is typically some PayPal money.
That's cool.
I was in a intermediate level faction for that.
Nice. How many people were in your faction, and how many people played at that level in general?
Yeah.
Hundreds, thousands.
The factions, it's Minecraft factions, obviously. But I think there's typically probably about. I think the rosters were typically about 50 people, where you rotate in and out. It was an interesting experience, but it was it's a grind for typically about a month at a time.
How many hours do you think you spent per season of that?
Hundreds, maybe.
Nice. Sounds like fun, honestly. Do they still do that?
The game mode
Yeah.
is long past its prime. It is rife with corruption and cheaters at this point, so I would not suggest it. Even when I played, I think it was on its downturn. So,
what year was that? Or years?
2018, 2019.
That's fair.
Yeah. Nowadays, most of the time, the staff are very blatantly corrupt. Most of the top players, or quote unquote top players, are just blatant cheaters, and no one does anything about it. Or if they do, they just buy a $30 unban.
Wow.
So
Does
yeah,
that at least go to the pool?
No. These
Dang
servers
it.
are run for profit, so they're obviously encouraged to be corrupt. So I stopped playing that game mode because it was just no longer fun.
Bummer. Did you still have fun regardless? Overall?
When
Did
it
you
was
look
going
back
well,
on
and when I wasn't getting hit from 6 blocks away, yeah.
Well, good. Well, you blazed through that like lightning. Those are most of my questions. Is there anything you just want to talk about? Tell us about yourself that we didn't.
Not really sure there.
Okay. Well, let me know while we're still playing. Well, you've got the mic. And I'll just insert it. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and close out for the purpose of the interview. Well, thank you so much for taking some time to talk to us, and thank you for the patrons for asking questions and being such great supporters of the game. And Pax, really, thank you for making the game work. The mods are critical, and I feel like maybe the devs get a little too much credit at times for being TM when y'all are as well. So thank you for making this game work. It means a lot.
Yep, no problem.
Well, sorry, I'm focusing on not dying. Well, I'm gonna cut it out here. Thank y'all so much for watching. Thank you, Pax, and we'll talk to y'all later. Bye.
Bye.